Okay. Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classic, That's Known Classic. This is episode number 32, 10, Doubleshot, 3104. First discussing Marvel Knights, The Punisher, by Garth, Ennis, Volume 3, which had collected issues 27 to 37, along with the Punisher Warzone miniseries that he wrote, which was Warzone Volume 2, which I believe was like 5 issues, which I discussed in the previous video already. So I'll discuss the main issues. By the way, all the issues are written by Garth Ennis. The opening issue was done by a guy who just celebrated his birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, Tom Mandrake. Yep, it was his birthday yesterday. I don't know how he turned, but it was his birthday yesterday. Yeah, 27 is called Elektra because this is the issue where Punisher meets Elektra for the first time. As far as I can tell, these two have been around. These two have never been in a comic together before, but here we are. Like, I think they're going to cover one of the Marvel Knights one-shots, but never been an actual story before. And they just work together, kill some gangsters. And then the issue ends with Punisher asking Elektra on a date. And you're like, really? And by the way, these two would never see each other again until almost a decade later in Charles Show's Thunderbolts, where they get into a sexual relationship with each other. Which, by the way, only exists in Thunderbolts. Because in the main Punisher book published at that point, yeah, this is never brought up at all. By the way, the covers are still done by the awesome Tom Mandrake. Yeah, the Elektra's appearance here feels completely random. Yeah. But my guess is they probably threw in here, but we still have Soap in here too, of the Killing of Gangsters. For Elektra, probably the reason why they threw in here, and this is my personal guess, maybe because basically the movie was out and she still had solo book at the time, so that's probably the reason why. And then move on to Streets of Leonardo, where we have this guy called Sheriff Steve Sidhall, who debuts in the story. He's only here for this one story arc. It's basically Punisher going to Texas for a 4-parter to kill some gangsters, obviously. To kill some arms dealers. It's okay, this story arc. It only lasts just for 4 issues. 32 is all about Detective Martin Soap. And so, by the way, the previous story arc, it's Cam Kennedy basically does the art for that one. We have the late Steve Dillon returning for 32, where, get this, in this issue, this whole issue is focused on Martin Soap. It's mentioned that it's been 2 years since Martin Soap started getting info. Also, his girlfriend broke up with him because he woke up in bed with a guy. Yeah. And then he apparently became suicidal in this issue, and then he's kind of involved in the next few issues, and he's gone from comics. Yeah, it's a kind of an interesting issue, but nice we have Steve Dillon return to this issue because he helped create basically Martin Soap, so why not do a story about him? And then comes the Confederacy of Douches. Where? Because apparently these 3 guys don't like Punisher's bullcrap, so Wolverine, Spider-Man, and Daredevil decided to show in the book and decided to have a 3-on-1 handicap match with him throughout these remaining 5 issues. And just by sheer randomness, the Hulk shows up. Yes, the Hulk shows up. And just shows up here. Punisher deals with him, and then Martin Soap quits the police force to become a porn star. Yep, he quits the police force to become a porn star. And that's the last we see of Soap. Because after this one issue, with the exception of the video game that appeared prior to this, that's the last time he appeared. Molly, of course, returned to Punisher Warzone, which, of course, that'll be her final appearance in comics. Martin Soap, after this, he's done. There's no more Martin Soap at all. He is an interesting character, but it's like Garth Ennis didn't know what the heck to do with this guy at all. No, he did not. He did appear in the Punisher Warzone movie, which, yeah, that was by pure randomness, which, by the way, that came out 4 years after his last appearance. And he made an appearance in the Noir comics. Which, you're like, really? Yes. For some weird reason, the writer of Punisher Noir, Frank Tieri, threw in Martin Soap for some random reason. Oh yeah, there's the 05 video which came out during this volume, which the game is awesome. Play it. But Lucky's Bar itself, which was a frequent bar he basically went to throughout this book, which by the way became a frequent location where every time basically his parents became just cameos, just get info, then he disappears. The bar itself makes its final appearance in issue 36. Was the bar destroyed? No, it just stopped appearing in comics for some weird reason. And if you're really curious about Lucky's Bar, it did also appear in the 06 in the 05 video game. It did. But as for, like I said, Martin Soap, yeah, he was written out in comics because, I guess because Garth Ennis was done with him. And then I discovered something weird related to him. So, the slightly older woman he slept with turned out to be his mom. And you're like, what? Yes. And then he slept with the woman's daughter, who turned out to be his sister. And you're like, what the heck? Who wrote this thing? Kit Kifler, which came out 04. You're like, why the heck would the writers of Marvel... Why would Garth... that? No. I'm like, okay. So this slightly older woman was Soap's mom and he didn't realize it. I'm like, that's disgusting. It was by far the most weirdest thing I heard revealed about the character. Oh, by the way, the issue ended at 37. Pretty much the same way the end of the first issue of the previous volume ended. Punisher take a gangster, tie him up and bound gag him, and throw off top of the Empire State Building, and it doesn't say welcome back Frank, it says good job Frank. And by the way, that was the last anybody saw this first Punisher for 2 years, until he popped up in Punisher War Journal Volume 2, which came out in 2006 during the height of Civil War 1. What did Punisher do during his absence? In the case 616, nothing. They just wrote him out of the continuity. The reason is because they put him in the Max continuity. But my guess is somebody at Marvel Comics really wanted Punisher back in the 616 continuity, despite the fact he was doing really well over the Max continuity. Yeah, he was. But final thoughts on Punisher Volume 5. It had a great start with the opening 5 issues. I love the first 5 issues. Yeah, so reminiscing of basically the previous volume with similar style of writing. Garth Ennis is like he's on a high. And then he decided to take a break for a few issues for some reason. I do not know why. I've never met Garth Ennis to understand this. Heck, there was one issue of this book where it was written and drawn by Steve Dillon, which I think may have been... Now, weird enough with Steve Dillon, he didn't do many issues of this volume. No, he didn't. He did the opening 7 issues, did 13, 14, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, came back for 32. There was a one-shot he did for the Max imprint. which that was a comic related to movie they did Punisher Greatest Hits. Well, excuse me, Bullseye's Greatest Hits. He would also come back to Punisher vs. Bullseye. He was the artist for Wolverine Origins for the first 25 issues, which was amazing. He would come back to Punisher full time with Punisher Warzone. Actually, 6 issues, not 5, my mistake. He would also do the Punisher Max book, which lasted for 22 issues. He would also apparently do some issues of Ultimate Avengers for some reason. Yep. Last comic he did for Passed Away was, in fact, Punisher Volume 10, Number 7, which came out in December 2016. Yeah, but he would actually pass away during the course of doing this issue. He would not finish the issue because he passed away, so he had Matt Horak pretty much take over the artwork for this book. And he would do the book for remainder of the volume. The last issue he did for Punisher was issue 218. Now, with Punisher, have I covered everything that the Punisher Steve Dillon, have I covered everything that he basically worked on? No. The only things I have fully covered so far has been Punisher Volume 4, now Volume 5, Wolverine Origins, Punisher Warzone Volume 2. There is the opening issue of Psylocke, Dark X-Men, I've done those, X-Force, Y322, X-Men Legacy 230, Ultimate Avengers, which was Ultimate Avengers 3. The one issue Incredible Hulk he did, which was volume number 8. Avengers number 11. The Thunderbolts volume, which did the opening, looked like he did the first 6 issues. 8 issue 12. And of course the last in the Punisher Volume 10 book. And the 2 issues of Scarlet Witch he worked on. So I'd say most of the time that he basically worked on Marvel Comics. Now, weird enough, one thing you at least got to praise about the volume itself is that it brought back Joan the Mouse for a few issues. Her last brought back for one issue. One. And this issue came out roughly a year after her last appearance. And that'll be her last appearance in comics. So it's like, yeah, bring these guys back just to not do much at all. Mr. Beppo, well, he never returned to comics. He did make a flashback appearance in this volume at the start. Actually, it was issue 19. But that was sadly put the last time we saw him was actually in that book. Cindy Spacker Dave. Yeah, it was kind of the same thing when it comes to that. Yes, Joan will be mentioned in the 05 video game, but never returned to comics after this. Now, after, for some reason, after the whole thing with Steve Dillon, then the book became weird. It's like it was a mixture of a little bit of good. The book became okay after this, not terrible, but by far the low point of this book was Taxi Wars. I'd say it's slightly improved when Garth Ennis came back to book issue 13. But my guess is you read these last several issues, it's like he really wanted to do mature storytelling with this book, but couldn't. He was trying to push it up, but couldn't exactly break the envelope just yet, because he was construed by the guidelines probably of the Marvel Knights imprint per se. He wanted to get out of the imprint in a different imprint Punisher. He probably liked writing Punisher per se, but he probably wanted to get out of that and do something more violent per se. And plus, also the book was not selling too well at this period of time. So then Marvel Comics decided to relaunch the book under Volume 6, which became a very successful volume Punisher. And here's the second volume for the book. By the way, I give that last trade there a 8 out of 10. Next up, basically, we're talking about the Punisher Max book, which, by the way, one of 2 volumes doesn't discuss Punisher. You're like, really? One of only 2 left? You're like, it's about frickin' time. You've discussed this book since last year, which, that's true. I have. This is one of the last volumes to discuss. After this, there's one more volume to discuss. Yes, there's Punisher Max by Jason Everett to come after this, but for a Punisher book within Punisher, one book left to go. The Day of Purpose book, which I'll discuss in the future. So, this book in particular contains issues 13 to 30 of Punisher Volume 6, under the Max imprint. Written by Garth, Ennis. Tim Bodstreet does the awesome cover artwork. By the way, I own this trade here. Yep. So, of course, like I said, Garth Ennis is the writer. For these 3 stories, we're not discussing 25-30 because I had discussed a separate review, so now discussing here. We have Mother Russia, that's issues 13 to 18. I thought that was Irish, my mistake. Dougie Brothwell, and Up is Down, Black is White, with art by Leonardo Fernandez. By the way, Sky handed us the art for that one. So, 13 is famous for the debut of the Max version of Nick Fury. Yep. You're like, huh. Yeah, issue 13, I believe, is the debut of Max version Nick Fury. I'm just going to double check that just to be sure. No, he made his debut in the Fury miniseries under the Max imprint. But this probably was the first time he appeared in the main Punisher book. Mm-hmm. Because the thing is, Nick Fury appeared in this story, and then he would not return to the book until toward the end of Ennis's run for the book. Yes. So, Mother Russia involves basically self-evolving the Russians. Mm-hmm. And it's mostly a bit of a flashback issue, the storyline. And of course, you have a lot of focus on Nick Fury. And one point in the book, Nick Fury is unhappy with a particular thing in the book, a move by some high officers, probably a general. Yeah, let me find it here. So, he is particularly not happy with what's going on here. Of course, he has to save a little girl. It's also still protocol, per se. So, if I can find here, there's a lot of explosions here. And Nick Fury's like, Castle. Yeah, first time I actually read this book, even in the storyline. If I can find it here. So, and of course, basically, some more, a lot of soldier killing, per se. So, if I can find it here. I think it's this issue particular 17 when this happens. And of course, Punisher's a flashback to when his daughter was killed in front of him, saving a girl. Yep. Yeah, and then of course, basically, like, there's some action. These generals basically are so happy with it, and Nick Fury is like, "What did you do?" Excuse me. After 2 pages with Castle, you get back to it. It's like, never mind, I knew it was you, but just tell me what you were just doing. Colonel Fury, that side of operation is none of your. Finish that line, and I'll blow a 45 round to the side of your head. You talk to me. Well, we felt concerned of the precautions you were taking against the Russians and U.S. involvement. Yeah. Which one do you came with the master plan? And then Nick Fury walks the guy. Apparently, this was his idea. So then he proceeds to take off his belt and proceeds to just whack the guy in the face with his belt because he is not happy with this at all. And of course, basically, when the officer's like, "Get the MPs, stop, please," and he tells the guy, like, "Touch that phone, you're next." He's like, you callous maggots. Yeah, there's a lot of swearing in this book. What about the people in the plane? What the F could you have been part of? That brain of yours, you really don't think the Russians would think so? Who stinks? He is just not happy. So basically, yeah, Punisher gets at the silo. Yeah. My guess is that the reason why Nick Fury is doing here because he's part of this universe and he knows Frank Castle, so why not? A little missile in here. Really interesting story arc, but yeah, Nick Fury is just not happy with this idea. Because Operation Magnitude, because he's supposed to be in charge of S.H.I.E.L.D., because they mentioned S.H.I.E.L.D. here, it should be done under his jurisdiction. It's his operation. And of course, his general basically pointing fingers at him. This is going aboard the sub. Near the girl. They had specialists make it ready to take the blood samples. Sticker. He's still over all the way to Alaska. Which means the antidote killed the virus in her system 2 days ago. Which means the whole operation was a waste of time. True. I promised I won't let anyone hurt her. Sounds fair to me. Win some, lose some, General. Lieutenant. Escort Colonel Fury off the base. Chop this other close beats and irons. Take the girl sick bay immediately. Yeah. Look, that's not gonna work. You men. Lieutenant. Anytime you like, General. Yep. And they don't do anything. They don't arrest Castle at all. They just let him go. Yeah, don't play with guns like you. Yep. And then comes a very weird storyline with this book. Yes. A weird storyline. We start out with these two guys trying to dig up the family castle, the graves of the castle family. And then we cut to a woman in prison taking a shower. And 3 women march up to her, probably to shank her. And by the way, she's butt naked because it's Max Emperor. We actually can show nudity. I'm not going to show it because basically I want to be. People will say, "Oh, you showed nudity." I'm not showing nudity. I'll show some article later on. So, as beat up, and now here's some artwork I can show right here. Yeah. And of course, basically, this whole thing is like. Punisher got a lot of people in this book. A lot of people. Yep. And then, of course, then she breaks in the girl's nose. And then, oh, good gosh, this is... See, once again, this makes it disgusting. So, these two guys decide to videotape themselves urinating on the skeletons of the Castle family. Yeah, all because this guy was so mad at Frank Castle. And Frank Castle see this, and he's like, yeah, I would feel the same way if somebody basically messed with family graves. So, and then for some reason, then we see a little girl just shoot this guy in the head, who's apparently Nick Kramer's father. Yep. And then we see, like, oh, like, this guy, Nicky, his parents died. So then his aunt shows up, Auntie Mo, who just shows up here. And then, like, after doing some cards, and then, oh my gosh, for some weird reason, Garth Ennis thought this was a good idea. This guy taking his aunt to bed with him in an adult way. Oh my gosh, seriously. By the way, later on, he actually suffocated to the pillow. Yes, Garth Ennis thought this was a good idea to do. I do enjoy the artwork, but I don't think this is a good idea. Like, what is up with Ennis' idea with this nonsense? Urinating on graves? Incest? What the heck is he up to with this stuff? I like where you're at Punisher, but like, gosh. And yet people like this book. Yes. But yeah, probably the best thing about this that we have Punisher suiting up. And then, oh, by the way, this is actually Gloria O'Brien. She's a part of the IRA, and she has a sexual relationship with Castle. And she gets pregnant and gives birth to Frank's first child since his previous children. Yep, she gives him a daughter. Who, by the end of the last no publication of this continuity, still very much alive, but his baby. But nothing was known what happened to her. She just... Punisher the one that wants to do with her at all. She is there occasionally in the book. I'll talk about basically her debut some more time. So the Punisher just whacks some fools. And some... Oh my gosh. So... Some idiot news station decided to show this again. So, her name is Catherine, not Gloria, excuse me. And somebody thought this was a good idea. A guy urinating in a grave. I'm like, this is disgusting. So, lots of dead bodies, probably killed by the Punisher, found by the police department. Yeah, so... And then Punisher proceeds to... He Holmes... Crap, he takes the gun, opens up, fires at him, and of course Punisher takes up a freaking machine gun, kills a bunch of guys. Yeah, because he's mad. And then we see, it looks like almost like a post-apocalyptic wasteland, where like a lot of people die, lots of car bomb damage, like a lot of people did. And a little bit of psychological trauma there. Book comes a little better. Or, if I can get this thing over here, thank you. Yes, and then of course, then we have some people in the back rooms like wiping out criminal scum. Some rich guys are not happy with it per se. Actually, some gangsters. So, yeah, it's the guy Nicky. And of course, Punisher looks for the guy. By the way, Punisher is older than he was appearing in the current continuity. The reason for this, why does Punisher appear older here than he does in main continuity? Well, because in the Max continuity, Punisher aged in real time. So, by the time of the 2000s, the man was already in his 60s. Actually, like 50s per se. Yeah. Oh, and another comic. This I think of it later on. Punisher is confirmed to kill 2,000 people in this continuity. Yep, 2,000. And then, of course, basically we have Catherine just stopping at the Punisher. And, of course, you have this woman basically trying to make a move on Nikki. This older woman, mind you. Yes. Who apparently wants him, and he's like, no. Yeah. And he gets upset. Then, of course, Catherine just helps him out. Asks the lady, he's like... And then Punisher and Catherine just have sex. Yep, and we see her butt naked, just like we did before. And then, of course, basically, then this older woman shows up to shank Punisher. Actually, she does in the next issue. Stabs him right in the shoulder. And then eventually, she dies. They find Nikki. And, of course, they kill him off, too. Probably as payback for doing something with the graves. And Punisher kills the guy in the middle of the woods. And actually shoots him a gun. And apparently he decides to... Like, you would think basically, like, him being in his head like that. Is it implied he may have peed on him too as payback for peeing in his family's graves? It's implied, yes, but unknown. And then came the Slaver story arc. But writing-wise, this is okay. I do like how Punisher in here, but oh my gosh, like from a 25 stance, basically, I'm sure at the time people must have loved this book. Mother Russia was a really interesting story arc, but the story arc to come afterwards, Up is Down, Black is White. It's like, oh my gosh. This dork was kind of gross. Yes, I view the Slaver's Way, so I might worry about that, but give the book roughly 8 out of 10. Yep. So yeah, that's particularly a particular review. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications. Next up, Common Rider. Okay? Thanks for you. Bye.